Welcome back to the Mail-In Podcast. First time in a couple of weeks here. Feeling good, feeling ready to be back after the holiday break and maybe a little ski break too. I am your host, Brett Merriman. To my right, the lovely, the one and only, Sally deFries. Sally, Happy New Year. Let me be the last to say
you
that.
have to be the last to say it.
Yeah, 11 days in.
Because what Larry David said, you can't say it after January 7th.
Is that what it is?
It might be January 4th. I think it's January 7th, though. I think you get a week.
Yeah, either way, I totally agree with him.
We just haven't seen each other.
Last week, yes, that's correct. Last week I was last week was my emails were Happy New Year, and then this week is no. We're done. We're done with that.
We're over
But that's okay. I'm not going to get super bent out of shape about Happy New Year wishes.
Yeah, I don't care.
Anyway, how are you? Were you affected by the ground stop that's affecting the entire nation today? FAA ground stop.
No, I saw that, though. Did that.
Tough couple weeks for airlines. There's a question in
think
here
we're gonna discuss
specifically.
that
Yeah. What's going on, Sal? How are you?
I mean, I'm great. I woke up last night after going to sleep at like a solid 9 o'clock. It was
Wow.
great.
Good for you.
And I think the issue is that I've been going to sleep too early. So
Mm,
now I like wake up in the middle of the night at like 3 a.m. and then just am wide awake.
it's wired.
And I was trying to go back to sleep, but I was like almost hallucinating. You know, when you're like at the edge of sleep, like I could tell I was right there, but I was like dreaming really weird shit. But I
Yeah.
was like awake enough to be lucid to know what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
And so then that kept me up because I was like, why am I dreaming about this?
Interesting.
So I'm a smidge tired, have not had coffee this morning.
Okay.
I
Are
will
you
be
on?
getting
Ra-
post.
Randy's doing a caffeine cleanse. Are you aware of this?
I am aware of it. I think that's awesome, Randy. I probably need to do a caffeine cleanse as well.
He lasted a day, and then he went and got caffeine yesterday.
Oh, okay.
A small amount. Did you not? Oh, I thought
11 days.
I thought you were doing it just this week.
No.
So yesterday was the first crack in your armor.
You know what? But we need to not think of New Year's resolutions as an all or nothing situation. You're just like making yourself better,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't have to always start on the first, whatever, all of that other mumbo jumbo. But I think that there's this like very much everyone thinks that their whole life is going to change on January 1 or 2, depending on when you start. And if you break, at least you were like moving towards something.
Sure.
You know?
Did you have any resolutions that you plan on bettering yourself with?
Not really.
Mm-hmm.
We're currently partaking in dry January,
Oh boy.
but I already know that I'm breaking it on Friday. So
Okay. You know what?
dry-ish.
Take a dry week here and there.
Yeah.
Reset the old internal clock. I don't hate that. I'll take a dry week at the end of January.
Yeah.
Maybe one in March. Maybe like one a quarter. I'll just be like dry week.
Just dry 1 week.
And probably just dry weekdays.
Yeah.
That works. Anyway, we're the Mail-In Podcast. We do our best to answer your questions. Get a laugh. Maybe walk away with something useful. A lot of good questions today. Liked our rundown. We got going.
Mm-hmm.
How can you help us out? Subscribe on iTunes. Follow on Spotify. Hit the hotline number 888-362-MAIL. That's 888-362-6245. Or you can write it at the link in the Twitter bio. Oh, I'm gonna give Randy some work. Or you can go right here to subscribe. Hit up the new store, washmedia.shop, or hit up the new YouTube to watch us in person. Well, kind of in person on your computer. YouTube.com/mail-in-podcast. Sally, are you ready?
Let's do it.
Here we go. Hello, Mail-In crew. Hello. To be honest, my new year has started off pretty rocky. I spent New Year's Eve with my boyfriend and his high school friends at a ski lodge party. It was a pretty chill sitch. We had a really fun night. But fast forward to New Year's Day at my boyfriend and I's house. Towards the end of the day, my boyfriend starts being very odd and very cold towards me and keeps asking me, excuse me, if there's anything I'm not telling him. I'm confused and assure him there isn't. The next day, he leaves for a trip, and he's still questioning me over text if I'm doing something behind his back. This turns to a pretty nasty fight because at this point, I'm confused, I'm hurt, and I'm frustrated. After a few days of not speaking to him, he admits to me his high school friends were saying in their group chat that after my boyfriend went to bed on New Year's Eve, I was hanging out on the pull-out couch with one of his friends. In reality, I was in bed next to my passed out boyfriend eating ramen. This was all just a joke that my boyfriend took too far. Am I in the wrong for also being upset with his friends for making me the butt of their quote joke?
Okay, I have to clarify something really fast.
Sure.
The boyfriend knew it was a joke and was pissed at her, or he found out later that it was a joke?
I believe he found out later that it was a joke or they were just kidding. Like,
Okay.
"Oh, hey, like, Sarah was on the couch with Jimmy
Mhm.
after you went to bed,"
Yeah.
and, like, that was the message that was in the group text, I'm sure people were like, "Ah, ha, 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 yeah, totally," and then
And then he got
he
upset,
got
they got in a
upset.
fight, he goes on a trip, finds out it wasn't real.
Yes,
Okay.
but still has turned into a legit fight.
Okay. This sucks. There's no other way to put that. That sucks because 1, she didn't do anything wrong.
Mhm.
2, if I mean, if someone tells you something like that, like your girlfriend was hanging out with your friend on the couch, like you would just assume that they were being truthful, right? Like
It's a very weird like, why would you as
without
a
seeing
friend
like
group.
the receipts of the text here, like you don't have a reason to not trust your friends. You also don't have a reason to not trust your girlfriend, but I also think that in this case the boyfriend handled it pretty poorly. Like if he is going to give her the cold shoulder, be upset, etc., he needs to like say why, which he clearly did not do for a long time.
Correct. That's the biggest egregious thing here is, like, if you, if you even have a question or if it even really happened, why don't you just ask her?
Right.
Or, like, come out and be like, "Hey, I got this weird text last night, like, what is this?" And she'll be like, "What are you talking about? I was in bed next to you. Case closed."
Right. It's only gonna like sow seeds of like doubt and mistrust between them, especially if they don't like right now have a full blown conversation about it
Mhm.
in the following manner. 1, she says, "That never happened. I hope that you trust me. You should trust me more than anyone else. Why would I lie to you about that?"
Mhm.
2, I kind of want to see what happened and which friend instigated this so we can confront him directly. Because personally, if someone calls out my integrity, I'm like, we're going to get to the bottom of it. Even if it was a joke, and hopefully that's all like cleared the air now. Whatever guy put it in the text has said, like, oh, that was a joke. Sarah and Jimmy weren't actually hanging out on the couch. Maybe that's it. But if there's still some, like, lingering doubt there, then you call out, like, Sam who said it, and you're like, "We need to have a conversation
Mhm.
with my boyfriend present," and you're gonna say that you lied, and then you're not gonna do it again, which I think a lot of people probably are listening to me right now and being like, "That's really hard ass and dumb," but this guy basically put your relationship on the line at his amusement.
Right. Which there's never any reason to do that.
Right. And then to me, that clears up a lot of stuff. Like, did they come out and say it was a joke, but the boyfriend was still pissed days later? Or did it take like a week of cajoling for them to say, oh, that was actually a joke? Like, that clears up a lot of the misunderstanding. And then once that's done, you tell the boyfriend, like, that really hurt my feelings. I don't appreciate the way that your friends acted. I completely understand where you're coming from and the fact that you think that I was hanging out with your friend doing whatever
Mhm.
and that you would be upset by that, but I think in the future, like, communication is better. We always say that. "Come to me next time."
Mhm.
Like, you should know that I would never do that. I think that clears the whole matter of sins, but all of this to say, I don't know how old these people are, I don't know how long they've been dating, etcetera. This is just kind of immature, dumb behavior by
Yeah.
his friends.
True, and need to know if this is an isolated incident or are we rocking one of these, like, every quarter.
Right, like, if are the friends shitty?
Yeah.
Um,
Or is the boyfriend like a "who are you with" guy?
yeah, there's a couple red flags to me that I don't think should fully be ignored. Like, is this innocent in itself? Mostly.
Mhm.
But if this is like his friends suck, Or maybe he's just insanely jealous and they, like, made a joke knowing that he's jealous and then he took it so far.
That's kinda where I'm worried about here.
Yeah,
'Cause they know this would tick him off,
right.
and so that's why they did it.
And I think
I mean, I guess it would
even
tick
if
anybody
you
off, but
clear the air of everything, do you always have that in the back of your mind that this happened? You know? And, like, is he gonna trust you? Like, clearly he
didn't,
right,
which is, he was, trying to put the impetus on you to say something, which
right.
is like that's why I'm kind of the more I look into this is the more I'm like, "Wait a second, are we okay here?
Yeah,
Like, are we good on a trust level? Because this doesn't feel like an isolated thing."
right. So, I think after they have a conversation, if it's like, "That was really dumb, we need to move past that." There's tons of times when I'm in a fight with Will where I'm like, "I can't believe we fought about that. That was stupid.
Mhm,
Let's move on and agree to try to be better about communicating with each other." But then there's other times where you're like, "This is a legit issue that we need to discuss other things that are like underlying
mhm,
resentments that need to be said."
totally.
So, I mean, only this girl can be the judge of what that is with the very little context we're given. But, this could be the catalyst for an eventual breakup, or it could just be like a blip and you move on. But you have to decide where you are on that spectrum,
Mhm.
if
Agreed.
that makes sense.
Yeah, I think so. To just succinctly answer the question, no, you're not wrong with being upset with the friends, but also let's get to the bottom of this communication issue as well with your significant other.
Right.
Want to hear from our friends at Roan, Sally?
Yes.
Men's closets were due for a radical reinvention, and Roan stepped up to the challenge. Roan's commuter collection is the most comfortable, breathable, and flexible set of products known to man, and here is why. There's a product for every occasion. Roan helps you get ready for any occasion with a commuter collection, which offers the world's most comfortable pants, world's most comfortable dress shirts, quarter zips, and polos. You never have to worry about what to wear when you have the Roan commuter collection. Looking good is easy, by the way, Sally. It's time to feel confident without the hassle. Rowan's wrinkle release technology, wrinkles disappear as you stretch and wear the products. It's that easy. And with Gold Fusion anti odor technology, you'll be smelling fresh and clean all day long. And on top of that, Rowan is 100% machine washable. So you can ditch the dry cleaner altogether. I was wearing my Rowan yesterday, Sally. Randy, I turned your mic up. Can you speak to my Rowan shirt I was wearing yesterday?
You were looking quite svelte? I don't know,
Svelte?
I guess. It was looking good.
Swelt, I'll take. I'll also take svelte.
Swelt
Um,
and svelte. Okay.
It is a white button down. I also have their pants that are insanely comfortable, and I've golfed in them, and I have worn them to a bar, and both have performed extremely well. Um, the shirt, though, Sally, I have a new favorite dress shirt that can be worn to work, that can be worn to a wedding if I wanted to.
Mhm.
It is the perfect summer in Austin dress shirt. Light as can be, felt like I was floating wearing this thing, and it looked incredible. White is a good color for me because it makes me look tan when I don't have much tan going on
Yeah.
normally. Um, so this thing just immediately jumped to the top of my list. I wish I was wearing it today. It was a dumb move of me, but it is just an absolutely fantastic shirt, and you should go check them out. Uh, the commuter collection can get you through any workday and straight into whatever comes next. Head to roan.com/mail and use the promo code MAIL to save 20% off your entire order. That's 20% off your entire order when you head to RHONE.com/mail and use promo code MAIL. It's time to find your corner office comfort. Next one.
Yeah.
Hey, Brett and Sally. So, to keep things short, my maid of honor has been zero help in planning my bachelorette trip. So, should I just do it all myself, Sally?
Uh, yes.
As somebody who is maybe planning a bachelorette trip
Me?
for yourself?
No. Um, no.
Eh,
I I kind of am like, okay, I don't know how to word this correctly. I think that there's obviously the expectation that the maid of honor does it.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know what the situation is, but again, a lot of times when people have a bachelorette party and they don't want to be fully surprised, they're going to be part of the planning anyway. I don't think it's going to look bad if you plan it yourself. If you
Mhm.
feel offended that the maid of honor is not planning it, you could ask her why, or you could ask a different bridesmaids
Pick up the slack.
to pick up the slack and plan it,
Mhm.
or ask for help. But at the same time, I think there's this phenomenon where when you're younger, it's like the birthday thing. You like want someone else to plan your birthday.
Because you wanna feel special, right? Like,
Right. That you're
yeah, I
like,
totally
oh,
get
everyone
that.
cares about my birthday.
Yeah.
No one cares about your birthday. Like, no offense. Like, no one cares about your birthday. And
It is a fun excuse to get together, but
right.
the actual birthday itself is
But
not.
that, like, people don't have time out of their lives to be like, I got to plan all these different parties for people. It's a really nice gesture. And there are some friends who are really good at that. But the older I've
Mhm.
gotten, the more I've been like, if I want to do something for my birthday, I'm going to invite everyone to a dinner. Maybe like we have a group text of girls in Austin, a core group that will text me like, oh, it's so and so's birthday coming up. Y'all want to do something? And like let them choose. But if I'm like, I want a dinner, I want a party, I want this, then I'm like, I am going to be the one to choose
Mhm.
to pick it. I think in a similar but not the same sense, bachelorette parties, things like that kind of take that tone because you're like, I'm the bride, I don't need to plan it, like I want to be surprised. But at the same time, like people have other shit going on in their lives. Yes, you asked this person to be your maid of honor. Yes, you asked for help, but like I think somewhere along the way in the past like 15 years when weddings got insane, we like were under this assumption that like the bride is gonna like be like a gleaming beacon of white light and she's just gonna like sit there in the pure like pedestal that she's on and everyone's gonna
Mhm.
like run around her. That's how like society has like made it happen. That we like put brides up on this pedestal and then all the rest of us who are part of the wedding like have to be her little maidservants.
Mhm.
That sounds really harsh.
No, and it's sort of like this the self like the machine feeds itself because
Right.
then when that bridesmaid becomes the bride, she wants the same thing,
Correct,
and
because this girl probably worked her ass off as someone else's maid of honor
mhm.
and was like, I would assume that someone was gonna do this for me. I don't think I get it, but we also have to learn how to, like, not be so upset when people don't have they're not the same stakeholders in our lives that we are.
Mhm.
You are the most important person in your own life. You know, like, you care about you. Very few people care about you as much as you care about you. So, I think it's appropriate to ask for help or it's absolutely totally fine to plan it by yourself. No one's gonna be like,
Mhm.
"Ugh, she planned her own bachelorette party." No one's gonna say that. And for people like me who are like type A and wanna be involved, I very much would be like, I would plan my own.
Sally, I whenever that day comes for me, I am planning
Right.
my own bachelor party.
But if you are kind of in the vein of like, I wish she would help, I think you're valid in saying something like, "Hey, totally happy to help." Or like, "Would love your input. I wanna make sure everyone has a fun time," whatever.
Mhm.
And then if that's not working, you can go to the next person that's also a close friend and be like, "Would you help me plan this? Like,
Yeah.
so and so's not really, like, interested in planning, and I don't know what she's got going on, but would you mind helping?" I've done that. I have planned people's bachelorette parties not as the maid of honor,
Sure, because 'cause
plenty of
you're good at
times.
it.
And I think there are some people who are not good at it and some people who don't wanna do it, and you never know what is going on in someone's life unless you ask them. So, if you are offended by it, ask, and then ask someone else for help. If not, plan it by yourself. Who cares?
I have that problem. My, eventual co-best men, huge shouts to Matt and Dan. If I let them plan my entire bachelor we'd end up in, like, a peyote den outside of Cabo, and
Yeah.
while that's fun for some people, I don't wanna do that personally. Maybe Randy can do that at my bachelor party. Randy says no. Yeah, I think it's no problem to plan it yourself. If you need help, ask. Maybe you don't ask the maid of honor. I think it's more important to have, like, if you want a very itemized bachelorette party or, um, party favors, if you want it to look a certain way or feel a certain way or be at a certain place and do certain things, take it yourself. If you're a little more low key, like, whatever, we'll go to one, like Austin, for example. I just want to do it there, and then whatever happens, happens. There's a little more hands off on the bachelorette party, but I think it's just up to you. And I think doing it yourself is not a problem. Just make sure you're not, don't stress yourself out over it. It's supposed to be, it, quote, the most fun weekend of your life, right? So
Right.
don't stress about it. The best part about any bachelorette party is getting getting your favorite people in one spot and hanging out with them,
Yeah.
regardless of how many party favors or steak dinners or pools you hit. Like, it's more about the people. So just get them together, and then fun usually happens.
Mhm.
Next one, Sal.
Yeah.
What's up, Brett and Sally? I recently heard a statistic that divorce rates are higher among couples who live together before marriage versus those who move in together after they get married. I want your thoughts on this, as it has shaken me up a little bit because I recently started living with my significant other of 4 years and we are, as of yet, unmarried. Love you. Bye.
Okay, I'm literally meant to look this up.
The statistic.
Yeah.
I wonder if this is like a propaganda statistic from people who don't want you to live together before you get married.
Like the Baptist church, maybe.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay. I don't know how this would be a correct statistic, personally. I Okay, let me see.
Live together.
Wow. Okay, this is from Okay. I don't know if this is true or not. This says
Psychology Today.
mine was okay. Rosenfeld and Rossler stand by their conclusion that the average increased risk for divorce associated with premarital cohabitation is mostly unchanged over the last 40 years. Okay, I guess there's some study in 2018 that if you was no longer okay, basically if you lived together before, there's greater odds of divorce.
Yep, I have a 1.3 times higher than those who did not cohabitate.
Um, I I don't know what to think of that. I personally feel like people who get married need to live together beforehand. I was not in that camp when I was younger
Oh, really? Okay.
because I was very religious.
I see. Okay.
I'm happy to say that I'm still very religious and still believe that people should live together before marriage.
Yeah.
I think I had a very idealistic viewpoint on how life worked.
Mhm.
Um, I think that when you are going to marry someone and there are so many conversations that need to be had beforehand. Um, and living together is not even like a conversation, but more of like a understanding how the other person lives type thing. I
Yes.
just think it makes for an easier transition. Uh, do you get some of that when you're staying at someone's house basically every night, but living in your own place?
Mhm.
Yes. I don't know that like I haven't read the study, so I don't know what the factors that they're saying are leading to like cohabitation causing divorce rates to be higher. I think that there is a lot of like sociology things that we could talk about here about why people get divorced and what causes that.
Also, what causes people to cohabitate before marriage? Sometimes it's like a money thing. Sometimes
Right.
it's like sometimes it's circumstantial, and then that can, especially in younger people, and then they get married, and then it's like, oh, you have a better chance of divorce because you just have longer to be with somebody.
Yeah. I personally wouldn't let a statistic like that freak me out about
Right.
getting divorced later in life. Your relationship is going to be as strong as you want to make it. And pillars of a strong relationship to me are communication,
Nice.
trust, understanding the other person. I mean, for us, I think the biggest thing for Will and I, and we did live together before we got married, um, not for very long, um, is that like, the things that you need to know about someone that are
Mhm.
gonna cause some major life rifts, okay? That's for, like, early on divorce. I think the people that I know that are getting divorced now or that could get divorced are arguing about stuff that they didn't know about each other because they got married young or they didn't know each other well enough.
Mhm.
I'm talking about, like, huge things like kids, uh, whether you want them or not, finances, how you choose to spend your money,
Mhm.
how much debt you have, things like that. Your thoughts on religion, your thoughts on politics. And I'm not saying you have to agree on all of those. You just have to have an open dialogue about some of that stuff.
Mhm. Totally.
I think when people get divorced later on in life, it's because they have realized like they've changed, their goals are different. Maybe they have what ifs, things like that. Obviously, this is like my own personal paradigm of divorce, and who knows what the actual causes are.
Mhm. Irreconcilable
Right.
differences.
I think there's also like, there's probably studies out there that are like, I'm pretty positive this is correct, but maybe I'm not, that children of divorce are more likely to get divorced.
I believe I've also heard that stat, but
But I've
I
never
am
seen that
fine
study.
pulling that out of
But
my ass.
again, are you as a child of divorce gonna never wanna get married? I mean, some people do feel that way. I think some
Sure.
people who watched,
Bad
the
divorces, yeah.
implosion of their family unit, like,
Mhm.
really causes them to be really guarded about stuff. But if we you kind of have to take all of these things with a grain of salt. Like, if we it's the same way of, like, everything causes cancer. Like, are you gonna avoid all of these things to, like,
Mhm.
have success and hopefully not have cancer? And then guess what? The biggest risk factor for cancer is aging.
Mhm.
So you are going to age. You can't avoid that. Uh, it's the same thing for divorce. Like, you can control as many variables as you want, but like in the end, if your relationship is headed towards divorce, like there is another reason that you couldn't control.
It's not just
It's
cohabitating.
not just cohabitating. So,
Unless you really fucking hate dishes or something like
right.
that.
I personally think I wouldn't worry about that. I think that people who cohabitate before marriage are smart. I think it's good to figure out what the other person's like
Of course.
so that you're not in shock when, I mean, maybe someone's out there like, well, there's no mystery left until then once you get married. And I'm like, whatever.
We're a Nicholas Sparks. I don't know who are the popular book writers these days.
Oh,
We're not a novel over here. I
yeah.
don't I totally agree with you, and I don't wanna ever knock somebody for because there's a lot of reasons to not. There's the religion thing, and there's, maybe long distance relationship, you don't move in until you're married. Like, there's a lot of reasons that people don't do it, but I am a proponent of living together before you're married because you gotta know.
Yeah. But I mean, like
Where do you stand on, like, the two-bedroom thing? Like, the new age, like, there's like there's like a bedroom that you guys share, but there's also, like, the guest bedroom is no longer the doghouse. It's like, "Alright, we're gonna, like, canoodle and then
we're going
sleep
to sleep in
separately."
separate beds.
Yeah.
I personally cannot imagine that.
Okay.
Well, it's not like Will and I are like big cuddlers and we're like
Mhm.
all over each other in our sleep, but I think we're pretty codependent on each other. And like,
Yeah.
I think I would get like kind of sad.
Oh.
But I also think I understand why people do it. Like, I
Mhm.
mean, literally, Will, like, if I accidentally like touch his leg in the middle of the night, he like loses his mind. He's like, "Why did you touch me? You woke me up," like things like that. So
Yeah.
maybe having two separate beds would be better for us. But and there's reasons too, like maybe someone snores, or maybe you
Mhm.
just can't get comfortable, or maybe one of you thrashes and the other person like sleeps like a log. I don't think that's really a problem, but I personally need to be in the same bed.
Gotcha. I like having the option, I think.
Yeah,
If
I
I'm
mean
just
the
like, "Oh,
options,
I can't sleep."
especially
I need to
like
go, like, really
if you need to get a good night's
stretch
sleep,
out, yeah.
or you're sick, or your
Exactly.
partner is snoring or being annoying, or I'm sure there were times when I was pregnant that Will was like, "I wish we slept in separate beds," because like I was getting up like every 2 minutes to go
Oh,
pee.
yeah. Oh, jeez.
So there are times where you're like, this would be better.
Yeah.
But
I d
haven't ever had that option. We've never had like a guest room.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I like that idea. I don't know if I'm gonna, like
like the Queen, I'm pretty sure that's what the Queen and King did. Queen Elizabeth and
oh,
I guess Prince Philip didn't sleep.
Interesting.
I don't even who knows what
Let's look into
King
that
Charles and Queen Camilla do.
more.
But I
Ooh,
think that's like a royal thing, is that they don't sleep in the same bedroom.
interesting. Is that like a security thing?
I've never
Like
thought of it like that.
if you take one out, the other one has to survive?
Well, maybe
Designated
back in
survivor?
the day when they were like technically royals, but like, do you take out Camilla? Does anybody care? Like,
Ooh.
shots fired. Whoa.
Whoa.
I'm gonna get some royal hatred.
Whoa. Look out.
But you know what I'm saying? Like the president, it's not like if you take out the first lady, people are like, oh,
Jeez.
huge national I mean, it's a big deal. Are we gonna get
Yes.
flagged on that from like Homeland
We're not
Security?
taking out the first lady.
No one's
Nobody's
doing
taking
that.
out the
I'm just
first
saying,
lady.
like, unless they're both powerful people, I don't think that that's like the reason why. I think it was more of a like actual like proprietary
Mm.
proprietary
I'm gonna let you work through this one.
proper.
There you
thing.
go.
Kept wanting to say proprietary. That's not what I was trying to say. You know what I'm saying? Like they were
Yes.
doing it.
Yes. It was like
Yeah.
it's like, oh, this is proper and prim. And
Mhm.
anyway, you know what is proper and prim in my world right now?
I don't know this.
Don't sigh, Randy.
I-
Butcher Box.
That was a bad.
Butcher Box is always in season. Celebrate the new year with delicious, high quality meat and seafood delivered to your door. I got rehooked up, Sally.
So did I. Our freezer is like there is no room for other things in our freezer besides the meat.
Jam packed. Give me your prediction, your cut of meat, your 2023 cut of meat is?
Oh, don't put me on the spot like this. What's yours?
Steak tips.
Oh, how do
I'm
you
gonna
prepare
make-
those?
I want to make more steak tips this year.
Okay.
I don't know how I'm going to prepare them. I think I'm getting into more like Asian glazes, like
Okay.
soy, ginger, soy, sesame kind of glazes. So I think sesame and soy glazed steak tips sound so good that my mouth is watering. I can't finish this ad read.
So we used to do a lot of steaks on the cast iron because we didn't have a grill.
Mhm.
And then it started our new place. Our fire alarm is very sensitive, so when we do it,
okay.
the cast iron sets off the fire alarm almost every time. I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this. Have you ever made a steak in an air fryer?
No, I haven't.
They're great.
Really?
I think that that's gonna be my 2023 steak and air fryer.
Steak
situation.
and air fry. So you season it and pop it in and
Yeah,
pop it out?
you could do like a reverse sear method, like
Okay,
sear it and then
mhm.
finish it in the air fryer.
Yes.
And the
I've heard
same
of
way
that.
that you would do, it's just when we do a full cast iron steak, it gets so smoky now that like we
Mhm.
can't.
You can't. Unless you have like a chef's oven that's really, that like
Yeah.
sucking the
Our
smoke
vent
up.
is not good.
Mhm.
So we got a lot of steaks from Butcher Box, and I'm
Mm.
very excited to cook them. I have to figure out the best way to do it that I don't set off the fire alarm every time I cook. But I
Well-
think I might start using the air fryer, and people can come at me. I don't care.
Keep us posted on that.
Yeah, I will let you know.
ButcherBox takes the guesswork out of finding high quality meat and seafood you can trust. 100% grass fed beef, free range organic chicken, pork raised crate free, and wild caught seafood. Are you kidding me? It's bad weekend to be a scallop. That's all I'm going to say, Sally. It's a terrible weekend to be a scallop. Humanely raised, no antibiotics or added hormones. Here's the deal. Get just what you want delivered right to your doorstep. Free shipping in the continental US, no surprise fees. You can choose from a variety of box plan options from curated to customized and change your plan whenever you want. Get the New Year bundle for free plus $10 off when you sign up today. That's 14-ounce pork tenderloin, 2 pounds of ground turkey, and 4 top sirloin steaks free in your first box. That's so much meat for free.
Yeah,
That's meals upon meals worth of free meat.
correct.
Again, 14-ounce pork tenderloin, 2 pounds of ground turkey, and 4 top sirloin steaks for free in your first box, plus $10 off when you sign up at butcherbox.com/mailin and use code mailin to claim this offer. What a value. I'm going to grill something this weekend, I think.
I think I am too. I need
Go
to
Bills.
take some stuff out of the.
Hey, Brett and Sally. Hope you had a great break for the holidays. Thank you. You too. After taking a semester victory lap, I finally graduated from a mid-sized state school in the Southeast. Here's the deal. I have 2 job offers on the table and was hoping that my favorite internet therapists might be able to give an unbiased perspective. Unlicensed internet therapists.
Mhm.
Both are with civil engineering firms. The first one, Sally, here we go. Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I'd be making just a bit north of 100 grand and have good benefits and flexible work from home options. They also laid out a clear career trajectory with lots of upward mobility. Most employees' salaries double within 2 to 3 years and are promoted within 2 years. I don't know anyone there and also have never been to South Dakota. I imagine there's not a ton to do, but the compensation and benefits are great. That's job offer number 1.
Okay.
Behind door number 2, Randy. The other option is Denver. I'd be making $55,000 at this firm and have worse but still decent benefits. The career growth is fine, but not as clear. I'd probably be making about 70 grand within a couple of years. I also wouldn't know anyone in Denver either, but I'm a pretty outgoing guy and a soft 7, so I think I could probably wrangle up some friends and potentially hit the dating scene and find someone more easily. It's also got the proximity to hit the slopes and get outside more, so I could be showing off my, quote, sick steez. The constants include family, as they're still going to be based in the Southeast. At either location means a long flight home when necessary. Also, the fact that I don't know people in either place. And surprisingly, housing, as I've only been able to find a few options of similar quality and price in both cities. So, what do you think I should do? My parents have pointed out that literally everything about the Sioux Falls offer is better except location, but Denver is just so cool. Sally,
I think the answer is pretty clear here.
it is door number 2. Go to Denver.
No, it's not.
What?
Okay, first of all, let me just say this right now. Clearly, this guy wants to go to Denver.
Of course.
Okay. He is looking for he wants someone to tell him to go to Denver.
Me.
Okay, you argue for Denver and I'll argue for Sioux Falls. Just go.
Denver, and here's my problem. I lived there
Mm-hmm.
on an intern salary, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I fell in love with the city. I fell in love with the skiing proximity, the golf courses, the people, the fun, the
How long ago did you
outdoorsy.
live in Denver?
2014, I was in Denver.
Okay, so 8 years ago.
8 years ago. Yeah. I
Sorry,
love the
9 years ago.
I love the growth. I love the newness of it. The things like everything feels new and fresh and recreational. And Denver's like built for people to enjoy life, no matter how much money you make. Which sounds like, as a civil engineer, one, you'd be I mean, that's kind of like you graduate, you make 55. That's kind of this day and age. It feels pretty standard.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you can make that work, especially with an engineer's trajectory on salary. So you don't need to be balling out. You don't need to be living above your means in Denver, because a lot of stuff you can do is relatively cheap. Bike ride, hike, walk, get a ski pass, and if you go enough, make that basically you can ski for $25 a day if you go 20 times. So I go Denver because I just think that the social scene, the recreation scene, and the ease of getting around, getting back home, Denver to flies to Atlanta on Delta. Like, I just think there are more squishy things about Denver that make up for the opportunity cost of losing out making 100 grand in Sioux Falls. Also, I don't know anything about Sioux Falls.
I don't know anything about Sioux Falls. I'm going to assume. I mean, look at what's the population of Sioux Falls.
Doing it right this second. Sioux Falls is 196,000.
Okay, that's what I was gonna guess, like 200,000 or 300,000. Okay, here's why you do Sioux Falls. First of all, it's the pragmatic choice. And I'm not saying that you always need to be the pragmatist, but there is a time. And I think this opportunity is one of those times that you shouldn't pass up because it's going to open up stuff for you later in life. Here's why I say that. Number one, the salary, I think, is a clear winner here for me, at least. When you lived in Denver 9 years ago, things have changed. Inflation is high. Cost of living is high. Likely the cost of living in Sioux Falls is going to be significantly less than Denver.
I would imagine far less.
Yes. So you have a really good opportunity to save money because your rent is going to be cheaper. Probably a lot of the stuff you buy is going to be cheaper. The most expensive thing that's going to be more expensive than Denver is probably going to be flying home.
Yep.
From my cursory little glance on a map here, does look like you're decently close to Minneapolis. You probably like take a little bump
Take
over,
a little puddle jumper,
and then you another Delta hub, by the way.
Shouts to MSP.
Yeah, go to Atlanta or wherever you're going in the Southeast. You don't know anybody in either city. If you were like all your friends were in Denver and you were like, I need to go take this job and I'm going to be alone, whatever. You're going to be alone in either city. And likely, especially in the first year of work, as you're like kind of getting your bearings, if you've never been a civil engineer before, et cetera, it's not one of those, in my opinion, super social jobs. So you are going to be probably working a decent amount and your ability to do recreational activities outside of work might be lower than what you actually think it might be.
Fair.
Because I think when you're right out of college and you join the workforce, at least this is me coming from a nurse, so much of like your life is spent like becoming an adult and going to a 9-to-5 job, or in my case, a 7-to-7 job, like grocery shopping by yourself for the first time. And like, yeah, you did that in college and stuff like that, but fully paying bills, doing all of the shit with no fallback by yourself. For me, the reason that Sioux Falls is the winner here is because of the growth. So this is the thing. You're not married to Sioux Falls. Like, use the year or two to get your foot in the door, have a really good experience, maybe get promoted, maybe make double whatever your starting salary is. And then in 3 years, you move to Denver or wherever else you want to go. You have gotten paid that much already, so you can demand that because you have experience and you're not just starting out. And you have money saved up, so you can actually like go do something like buy a house or go to grad school or whatever else you wanted to do, or just have a nest egg. I'm sure, I think that there's like a very big part of people, especially when they graduate from college. I was this person who was like, I need to be in an urban area with young people. But there is a also sense of like when you're in a smaller town, you almost have it feels like I need to be in Denver and Austin or Houston or New York so that I can like meet a ton of different people and experience a lot of culture and things like that. But I also would argue that the people that I know that were in small towns almost had like tighter knit group of friends that they like met afterwards, after college, because you're kind of all in it together. And the example I'm going to use here is a bunch of my friends, not a bunch, a few of my friends post college moved to Midland, Texas because they were petroleum engineers. The group, like Midland, is not what you think of when you think of like a sprawling metropolis of young people, probably in the same way that Sioux Falls exists. But they have a really good crew. They like all of them had great jobs. They all got to travel a lot because they had a bunch of dispensable income, basically disposable, whatever I meant to say, where they could like do shit and they weren't living paycheck to paycheck. I think I get both sides. I usually am the one who's preaching the experience over the pragmatism, but I think that there is a case to be made for both. I think this guy wants to go to Denver and needs someone to tell him that. I think anybody who is older and looks back on their life would be like, I would have done the Sioux Falls thing. And maybe I did the Denver and that's why I would have done the Sioux Falls, you know?
Totally.
That's my argument.
I did the Denver.
Yeah.
I liked it. I totally agree with my caveat to my whole thing was gonna be, you can totally go to Sioux Falls for 2 or 3 years and then go
Y
wherever you want with a boatload of cash saved up,
Right,
which I
and
love that
experience. I
option.
mean,
Yeah, and it's not like you're the only thing that concerned me a little bit was the work from home in Sioux Falls. It could I just don't want want 'em to get, like, lonely. Yeah, I
yeah,
think you're gonna meet people, but Denver's obviously easier to meet people. So I think it's gonna be, do you want squishy, experiential, living a little tighter, or do you want cushier and with less of a bustling metropolis? I
yeah,
kinda that's what it comes down to, and I don't think I'll leave it at this. I don't think you can go wrong here.
yeah,
Um, but I think it just kind of finally comes down to exactly what you're looking for at this period of your life when you have very few responsibilities outside of work. Assumingly, I don't think
mhm,
he lives with a girl or has kids or has, you know, aging sick parents type of stuff. I think it's if you are completely untethered, where do you want to spend a couple years of your life?
right.
Let us know. Hey, Brett and Sally. Love the pod and the fab advice y'all give, and hopefully you'll have some for me. I've been dating the same guy for 5 years, and as one can imagine, I am ready for the next step. Here's the problem: the talk of marriage only happens when he brings it up, and it doesn't come up often. If I bring it up or tell him about one of our friends or my friends getting engaged, he'll find anything to change the subject. We've never lived together or can even have the conversation about it without it ending in an argument or, again, change of subject. The feelings of resent are starting to rear their ugly head, and I fear I'm at the point where I wouldn't have the bubbly feeling if he did propose because it's taken him so long to, quote, decide if I'm worth it. When I see so many of my girlfriends moving in with their sig other or getting engaged in like 3 or less years. Am I being irrational for feeling this way after 5 years with no relationship growth? Thanks again. Love y'all and love the pod.
This is not irrational. I mean, this is a normal feeling.
Hmm.
You're 5 years into a relationship, you wanna know that it's going somewhere
Of course.
or have discussed openly about where it's going,
Hmm.
right? Uh, I don't know, the quote here, if he did propose because it's taken him so long to, quote, "decide if I'm worth it."
So you just like she thinks if he proposes at this point, it's just for like stop bothering me about
Right.
asking you to propose.
Um, if he said that, you need to leave. I doubt he has. I think that that was, like, her
That's her
making an
mental
assumption,
right.
but
Yes, yes, yes,
that's
yes.
that's not why somebody I mean, I don't think that people stay in relationships and then decide, "Oh, okay."
Hmm.
I think if you're 5 years into a relationship, you know that person's worth it.
I would hope so.
I this is again, a conversation needs to be had, and I know that he's very, it's hard because I think that there is a whole stigma of, like, if a woman approaches a man and says, "We need to, where are we going? What's our future? Are we
Hmm.
ever gonna get married? If you don't propose, I'm gonna leave." That makes you like a person who had an ultimatum. I don't think that that's like I don't think you're wrong for saying that. I don't think you need to give an ultimatum, but you can say like, Are we going anywhere? Are
Hmm.
we like we've been in a relationship for 5 years? Is there something holding you up for the reason we aren't getting married? Like, I want to marry you. I love you. I want to spend my life with you. All of those things. What's your holdup?"
Hmm.
And if he can't give you a clear answer, then maybe that's not the person you're supposed to be with. I mean, like, I think there's a whole thing to be said of like people don't need to get married.
Hmm.
That But if that's something you want, again, this goes back to the whole divorce thing. Like, these are non-negotiables for you. If marriage is something that's really important to you and the other person's not on board, why are you staying in that relationship with them? In the same way of like, If you want kids and they don't, that relationship's probably gonna end because one of you is gonna have to make a decision that you don't like.
Mhm.
So, I think even if it's uncomfortable, it's worth a sit down of like, "I need you to sit down and talk to me about this, and if we can't have a conversation about it, it's gonna tell me everything that I need to know."
Totally. I couldn't put it more perfectly. It's
Yeah.
just like it's time to have that conversation.
Yeah.
It's 3 years is one thing, 5 years is another. Like, it's time.
And I'm having, like, visions of remember that show, The Ultimatum on Netflix that was
Yes.
filmed in Austin?
Yes.
And these people are, like, giving ultimatums. They literally have been together for, like, 6 months. It's, like,
Mhm.
psychotic. If this is, like, a relationship situation where, like, 4 of the years were college and then 1 is post-college,
It's different.
that's different.
Yeah.
If you are, like, out in the outside world and you've been dating for 5 years outside of grad school, college, any other thing that's gonna cause your relationship to almost stall for the time that you were in that
Mhm.
situation.
Yes, yes, yes.
But 5 years and all like, and then in this span, your friends have met people, fallen in love, gotten engaged, possibly married. That's really frustrating. And there is some like, I think that you are valid in thinking that, you know?
I totally get, like, the resentment. You start
Yeah.
to resent your friends, you start to resent your boyfriend or girlfriend, like, it's like, what are we doing here? When you watch somebody else, like, go
Right.
through their entire process,
But for
be
me, 90% of resentment, maybe 95% of resentment is lack of communicating with the other person.
Mhm,
You resent someone because you don't understand them. And if you can't talk to him about it, you don't understand where he's coming from.
mhm.
So you've got to sit him down. And then if he refuses, like whatever's causing him to get weird about it, not talk to you, etc., it's maybe time to move on,
Yeah.
which really sucks to say.
Don't come at it like an ultimatum, don't come at it like, "Oh, you see Sarah get engaged? Oh, you
Right.
see, whoever," and you just be like, "Hey, where are we?"
Right.
That's
And
all
there
that
are legitimate reasons
yeah.
to not get married after 5 years. Like maybe tr- if he wants to explain it like, I'm really worried about this,
Mhm.
I'm trying to do this right now. And marriage is like on my back burner. That's all okay.
Yep,
Those
just
are all
gotta
valid reasons. You just need to know what they are.
exactly, just gotta know. Communicate is every answer to every mail-in question ever.
Yeah.
Communicate. You know what my answer is though every day?
It was
Athletic
my answer this morning, by the
athletic
way.
greens.
I drank it up this morning.
Athletic greens is something I use every day, and I started taking it because I wanted to improve my well-being, my health, improve my routine on a daily basis, getting nutrients and vitamins that I wouldn't normally get. So, what is the stuff? With one delicious scoop of AG1, you're absorbing 75 high quality vitamins, minerals, whole food sourced superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help start your day right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, and aging literally all the things. What is your favorite part, Sally, about AG1?
I think the routine part of it. It's
Hmm.
like I have it before I drink anything else in the morning, before I have coffee, makes me feel it's like the same good feeling of like making your bed in the morning.
Ooh,
But
I
I
like that.
don't do that because I get up before Will. So this is like I checked a box of the day. Like I start my day off right.
Nice. I like that. It's like making your bed for your gut health.
Right. Yeah.
You can Athletic Greens, you guys can take
You
that
can
one.
use that.
Yeah, you can take in your promotional materials.
Yeah.
I like the routine aspect of it too. I legitimately think it makes me feel better.
Yeah.
I really do. I feel good about getting, especially like I'm not the biggest veggies guy in the world. It makes me feel good about getting greens immediately in my day,
Yeah.
and I just kind of love it, honestly. AG1 is a small micro habit with big benefits. It's one thing you can do every single day to take care of yourself, like we said. Um, and some people's, tons of people take some kind of multivitamin, And it's important to choose one with high quality ingredients that your body will actually absorb. They say that too many vitamins from too many pills just makes really expensive pee.
Yep.
Not with AG1.
You want to be doing something that's actually going to benefit you.
Exactly. Exactly. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just one scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1 year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is go visit athleticgreens.com/mailin. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/mailin to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Last one, Sally.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, guys. 2 questions here. 1, how long does a trip have to be for it to be acceptable to to check a bag? Excuse me. And 2, can Sally still defend Southwest Airlines coming at you?
I'm not going to defend Southwest Airlines. I am going to still fly Southwest Airlines.
Mhm.
For me, I was not affected by that at all
Ooh, okay.
because we were flying Delta, who I also
The best airline in the world.
am a Delta loyalist. It makes more sense for me to fly Southwest for the destinations that we go to, being based in Austin.
Mhm.
So that's why we use Southwest.
Sure.
I also very much enjoy that they let you check 2 free bags.
Also great.
And I will say this, several family members that I have were affected by the stuff that was happening. Southwest has basically, like, made amends for like, refunded and given credits for all
They
that. So for me, I'm like, I didn't have to, like, call them. The times that they've screwed up with me, I got vouchers before I even had to, like, get on the phone with somebody.
Yes.
So that's why I'll keep flying Southwest, but I'm not gonna, like, say what they did was right or, like, think that their business model or, like, really their whole multi-hub situation is smart, but it is what their company does.
I think you gotta get the 1990s software fixed
Yeah.
pretty immediately, which
Ke
I'm sure they will, and it sucks that companies of that size, and this happens all the time, and it happens a lot with airlines, is that they make a fuck ton of money, and they put that money into stock buybacks to
Right.
increase their stock price. I think there should be a cap. This is my political soapbox here. I think there should be a cap on the amount of stock that a company can buy back in a year, or a percentage, or whatever you want to call it, or percentage of their profits that can be bought or put back into their stock price to basically artificially inflate it um, for their shareholders. It just doesn't make sense that you are waiting for a disaster to and like complained about by pilots and employees alike
Right.
for years,
Yeah.
and putting money into stock price versus fixing something, and then there's a meltdown on the busiest travel week of the year,
Right.
and burning years and years and years of goodwill with passengers.
It's not good.
No, it's not good. It pisses off your employees, it pisses off your customers, it pisses off your pilots, you know, and your executives. Like what? Like why even wait to upgrade a software that's going to be probably $1 billion thing?
Yeah.
And why? I don't know. I
I'm not gonna defend them at all, but I am gonna say that I'd still choose them every time over American.
I have had nothing but bad experiences, and I hate to be airport complain guy. Their their boarding sucks. I've never gotten my bag in less than 40 minutes after them. It's really frustrating.
Of who?
American.
Oh, yeah. Uh, at this point, and this kinda goes to the bag situation, the checking, I pick flights, airlines, etcetera, pretty much exclusively now based on if they have a nonstop.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
that's really important to me with the child now.
Mhm.
Uh, and then we fly Delta because we have to go to Michigan. I would fly Delta more often if I, like, lived in Atlanta or New York or something like that. It's just that
Mhm.
Delta doesn't have, like, a ton of nonstop destinations from Austin.
Do you know they don't fly to Denver nonstop?
Yeah.
Isn't that so? That's
A
just
lot
so
of the
weird to
West
me.
Coast stuff got messed up during COVID, I think.
Oh, yeah.
because a lot of
Interesting.
people stopped, well, for a little bit, stopped flying directly to LA, which was very weird
Hmm.
from Austin, which
Interesting.
seems insane to me. Anyway, for me, the answer here is, again, I think people are very polarizing about this.
Mm.
I always didn't care about checking a bag. I never really had issues losing my bag. Uh, like I said, I flew Southwest a lot, so it was free. If you're on a nonstop, I'm kind of like, depending on how long it is, I'm like, screw it, definitely check the bag, have free hands. Now we have no option and have to check bags because of Fritz. Like
Totally.
we have
Yeah.
too much crap.
Mhm.
We did not check bags in Europe,
Correct. You famously both did the Italy carry-ons.
which I actually really enjoyed, and I liked having, like, the knowledge of me having my bag with me, and I think when I'm traveling alone and can make it work, not checking a bag is great.
Mhm.
When you have a kid or a dog or whatever with you, you lose that ability because you're juggling other shit.
Totally.
For me, anything over, if you're checking a bag for a weekend, that's pretty egregious, unless there is something in your bag that you have to check for that reason.
Ski boots,
Right.
helmet, something crazy, golf
Right.
clubs. Gotta
Right.
check those.
You
But
have to check anyway. For me, like when we went to Mexico and Will checked his golf clubs, we were only gonna be there for 3 days. I'm like, well, we're already gonna check all the other shit. So then
Mhm.
just put it,
yeah, if you're
let me
checking
be
one,
free.
might as well get your hands free.
Yeah. But this is coming from someone, knock on wood, who like literally has only had her bag lost once
I'm still at 0.
on
Knock
United,
on knock on wood.
actually.
I
Uh
I think it's 3 or 4 day weekend. I'm still doing carry-on. 5 is probably the day that it probably requires a check bag-ish.
yeah.
And
But
depends on the weather that
but
you're
it
going
totally
to,
depends on
but
what you're doing.
yeah.
Like if you are going to a wedding and you've got to like bring a bunch of spray tan in your bag and you
Mm.
can't check you have to check it, then you have to check it.
It's true. Yeah, you gotta think about the aerosols.
Yeah, you gotta, if you need the products,
Mhm.
that's a big determining factor for me at this point. Like, because
Oh,
especially
interesting.
if we get to the airport late and I'm like, I could possibly check this back or I could possibly carry it on. And then I'm like, shit, I have all of this expensive skincare with me.
Mhm.
And that has happened to me in Mexico, like going to Mexico before. We almost missed a
Oh,
flight,
yeah.
but we had Fritz and I had to bring formula. I had to bring all this crap that I
Mhm.
couldn't fit into a carry on. So I don't think that there's a right or wrong answer here. I'm gonna definitely judge you if we're all on a girls' trip and you're the only person who checked a bag and the rest of us,
You have to wait.
like we went to Mexico a
Mhm.
couple weeks ago and I was literally only there for 2 nights, but I did check a bag because we brought our own wine.
Oh, okay.
And then I carried on the way home.
Gotcha.
But like if you're holding up everyone for a weekend, a wedding weekend, and we all flew into Memphis together and you're the only person jabroni waiting for your bag, everyone's gonna judge you.
You're the only jabroni.
So you gotta send a text beforehand and be like, "We check in or we carrying on?" So that you're not the only loser who is like making everyone wait.
Yeah. You know what I think is so funny? I don't know why this popped into my head. I think check a bag if you have stuff, don't check a bag, whatever. The people that check their bags and don't have another bag, like a laptop bag or something, the people that are just free balling in the airport, like with their phone and wallet, that's so odd to me for some like I'm like, what's
I am not kidding you when
just
I say that that's exactly what I did
really?
when we went to Burbank. We flew direct.
Mhm.
Oh no, no, we didn't check. It was a different flight. Burbank, we checked or we carried on.
Okay.
There was one flight where I was going when we went to I forgot where we were. Maybe it was to Mexico because I think Will had to check his golf clubs.
Okay.
So I was like, screw it, I'm checking. And it was just us two. And I literally only carried my purse. And I was like, what is wrong?
I would feel so naked.
It felt very weird. I was
Yeah.
like, I don't even know if I have stuff on me right now. Like what? Like I guess I have my ID and I have my Kindle in my purse, but I was like, this is too little things.
Too few. It's just feel I'm like, where's your stuff? Where's your backpack? No laptop? Just no,
Have you
not
ever
a care in the
flown in
world.
somewhere and flown out the same day?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
Indianapolis, weirdly, but yeah.
I did that to LA
And Denver, actually.
one day. And so you're literally like bring
Mhm.
nothing because you're just doing whatever you're doing for the day and then flying home later. And you're like, this is so weird.
So weird. Yeah, it's like a weird commute thing.
Yeah.
I had an interview in Denver for the Broncos thing. I flew out in a suit at 4 AM
Uh-huh.
with just I guess a backpack on. Flew home in a suit at 6 PM.
Yeah.
Got the job though.
It's weird.
Anyway, one shower thought I have, Sally, before we get out of here.
Hmm.
I have multiple, but we've been here for over an hour, so
I have a
I'll
good shower thought
Do
on.
you?
Have you? Well, we can discuss yours,
Okay, I'll do mine quick.
and then we'll add mine to the rundown for next week.
I learned something about fireplaces this week, which is probably well known among fire enthusiasts. But we had a very nice Airbnb for the ski trip I was on. Had a wood fireplace, super nice, huge. Excited. I'm a big fire guy. Lit the fire. It's going great. They had a gas starter. Have you seen those now? Where it's like wood, but you still have the gas thing. Anyway, all of a sudden, an hour or two into the fire, we're kind of stoking it. It's not raging anymore. Smoke starts coming in. And not heavy, not like the flue is closed. Obviously it wasn't. And there's smoke pouring in, but just enough that like it's getting smoky and everybody's like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
And I'm like trying to figure it out. I'm like, what is going on here? Come to find out that if you let a fire burn down a little bit and it's kind of and it's very cold outside, it's like really, really cold.
Yeah.
The updraft that's created by the fire gets weak enough that it can't overpower the cold air sinking down through the chimney, especially in a big, tall chimney like the one we had. So the updraft is canceled out by the downdraft of cold air, and that literally you can't get smoke up the chimney, and it blows out into the living room.
Physics.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Newton's whatever law. Anyway, that's my shower thought. Literally shower thought this morning. I was like, oh my God. How about you want to save yours?
I'm going to save mine.
Okay.
Mine's more involved.
Okay, deal. We'll save yours for next week. My other one, today found out my car, because used car prices are dropping again. My car is no longer worth more than what I bought it for. So,
Oh, bummer.
Bummer. Too bad. That'll do it for us, Sally. Anything else before we jump?
That's it.
Please subscribe, rate 5 stars, review, tell a friend about the podcast. Hit the hotline number 888-362-MAIL. That is 888-362-6245. Or you can write in at the link to the Twitter bio at Mail-In Podcast. Sally, where can the folks find you?
Sally deFries on Instagram and Twitter.
I am Brett Merriman at Schmerriman on both of those platforms. That's Randy Trimbacki on the ones and twos. Thank you, Randy. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.